News dump. Oh, you like that? I pointed at you and the sounder played because
How about that?
I'm going to add it in post.
Nice, nice. So this is good news for Goo. His nationally syndicated radio station finally added a room in which people could record separate from being live on air. So that's nice. That's nice. So here we are.
This is all trial and error. Just like the sharks in the ocean who've got
Ooh.
them teeth out over the July 4th weekend, we had 4 people attacked, bitten by sharks in Texas and Florida. Mac from the Hill. I also Googled this. Maybe they were using the exact same information that unprovoked shark attacks did increase in 2023 and fatalities doubled, but the numbers remain small. In 2023, there were 69 nice shark attacks around the globe and 11 fatalities. That's up from the average of 63 prior years and 5 in 2022. I also saw that there were more in the United States. Mac, are you going back in the ocean?
First of all, these stats are fucking goosed. Show me, go back pre-COVID. Go to 2019. Talk to me about 2019 stats. Because 2020, 21, people are still fucking worried about the vid and whatnot and being outdoors and just being near people in general. So those are fucking bullshit stats. Get me back to pre-COVID stats. Number 2, I'm always afraid of sharks. Doesn't matter what stats you throw at me. It could be 0 or a million. I'm afraid of sharks. It doesn't fucking matter. I am a fan of the ocean up to my waist. That's it. I'm not going in any further. I don't need to swim laps. I don't need to get stuck in a rip current. I'm a lake guy. I'm a lake guy. I'm a pond guy. I'm a pool guy. I'll hang out. I'll hang out there, but I'm not going. The only depth, like a hammerhead might be able to get me. Maybe a tiger shark or something that can get into shallow waters. But the waters I'm having fun in, there's no sharks. I'm not worried about sharks. But again, I'm not worried about them because I am so scared of sharks.
Do you think there's a chance that these fucking man-eaters, these monsters, these crazy fish in the ocean that we don't really know what's going on in there, that they have just they've developed a taste for human blood?
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible it could be like that conversation from the other guys. Now we got, now we got a taste for lion.
Right. And I know that we've discussed it in I know that we've discussed this in the past, but like, do we need to form an alliance, a truce with the orca, our one of our biggest enemies at the moment?
The enemy of my enemy is my friend type of thing.
Yeah.
Do you think sharks are a greater threat to humans or orcas?
I know that orcas can pretty easily take a shark down, and they'll just do it for fun. They just want to eat the spleen.
And orcas have sort of infiltrated our society. Like we keep them at aquariums and like put them up on a pedestal, so they could
Yeah.
very much infiltrate even further if they'd
Yeah,
like.
and some of them, go to the same bank as me.
Who's more likely to be found in a river, an orca or a shark? That's the
Oh,
question.
an orca. An orca can get in there
Okay,
because
all right.
they breathe air, so they can, sometimes there's dolphins in the Amazon and rivers.
Yeah, so then I'm more afraid of orcas than I am of sharks.
All right, it's been decided.
There you go.
News dump. I don't like that one bit. We have a weekend box office. Despicable Me has Despicable crept into. I don't like that either. I'm gonna fucking start that over.
Crept.
Despicable Me has won the box office 75 million over the weekend. Inside Out 2 down to 30 million, but at 533 domestic so far and 1.2 billion worldwide. A Quiet Place in its second weekend fell to 21 million domestic, but up to 94 million in 2 weeks. Maxine, 3X's,
Ooh.
6.7 at the box office, and then Bad Boys Ride or Die still holding strong, 6.6.
Yeah, and Despicable Me actually opened right before the holiday, so over its 5-day opening, it made 122 million. That is a shit ton of money. Of course, that franchise is ingratiated with children of all ages, so moms, dads, and kids went and saw that. I think here's a good point. My buddy brought his 4.5-year-old daughter to Despicable Me 4 over the weekend. She sat through the whole thing. First time
Yeah.
ever she's done it. So I think you're getting close with Rafi. I think he'll be able to sit through stuff soon.
Okay, so first off, Rafi has sat through many of Despicable Me movies, many of
In the
Minion
theater, I'm
movies.
saying.
In the theater, he sat through Mario.
Oh, okay. All right, there you go.
In the theater, he did not sit through Ninja Turtles, and he did
Yep.
not sit through Garfield. But
Okay.
Minions, I brought this up on the podcast many of times, is that they are just modern-day Looney Tunes. There is no story needed. It's just, let's have some fun.
Yeah, just hijinks, absolute hijinks. And Goo,
Exactly.
little peek behind the curtain here. The top 4 on that weekend box office, all on my team from the movie draft. So real big couple
Oh,
weeks for me.
speaking of that, news dump.
Movie draft update,
There we go,
folks,
yeah.
for Goo and for everyone at home and for the hashtag Dork Boys. And just for a reminder, last year Keith crushed us all with 930 points, but last year was actually the closest amongst everyone. Everyone did relatively well. Keith just blew it out of the water. Keith had won the prior year with 750, so that tells you how big the 930 was. Last year I had 750, came in second. This year, Goo, oh boy, do you guys get some splaining to do. Currently, in last place with 230 points is Davey. He has 8 movies left, so he is going to have a hard time climbing up to the top. Tied for second or tied for third, however you want to look at it, is both Goo and Keith with 280. Goo has 8 movies left, but 2 TBA, 2 that might get bumped, 2 that might come out this year. That may be a major swing. And then Keith has 9 movies left, so that's going to be a race there for second, third, and fourth. I fear the contest might already be over, Goo. I have 685 points after this past weekend. I do.
There's my chance even if you die.
I only have 6 movies left, but I think I've already built such a large lead that it may not happen for anyone else. I need 245 to try to get to Keith's 2023 number, but I'm only 65 points off from that 750 number, which seems to be like a milestone number in these contests. So you guys are in trouble. That's for damn sure. And I still got like a couple pretty good movies left. You guys still have some big bangers left, but I think it's going to be hard for you guys to catch me.
I think you could argue that Mac cheated.
Yeah, sure. By drafting 20 movies.
Yep. June was already out. Mac knew what was going to happen. Mac did the same thing with my dad as a pair of pants a couple years ago.
You get F1 as a keeper, though. You like knowingly drafted several 2025 movies.
That's up to you to decide. News dump. Arkham Asylum, the series, will no longer be happening either on HBO or Max or HBO Max. This is via Variety. It reportedly, the possible series was set at Arkham Asylum. It will no longer be developed, but it could be developed in the future.
Yeah, this is not necessarily a bad thing because I want them to take all the best Batman stories they got cooking up and keep it theatrical in the Reeves movies. So maybe there were some plot points here that they were going to use in the series that now may be used in a second or third movie, which I would prefer over the series.
Yeah, but what you could have done is you could have introduced Harley Quinn as a doctor at first, like at the end of the first season, and then she develops, over a full season, that mad love.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I do question how interested people are in a Batman-related series that doesn't have Batman. And
Have you heard of Gotham?
I think that'll be tested with Penguin. We'll see how interested people are in that. I'm sure it'll be good. I just don't know how many people are going to watch it.
Have you heard of Gotham?
It had Batman in it.
It had Bruce Wayne.
That counts.
He wasn't Batman, and
That
the
counts.
show stunk. News dump. Anthony Mackie shared a photo of his Captain America, and it's what we expected.
Looks exactly like one of Chris Evans' suits.
It looks like a $300 million suit.
I liked the more the whiter suit we saw at the end of the Falcon and Winter Soldier. The one we saw in this still looks just like every other one we've ever seen.
Do you think he gets that mid-movie, like how Batman used to upgrade his suit during like the Schumacher-verse?
I hope we get a couple different suits during the movie. Yes.
So you hope at the end of every 15 minutes is like, I just upgraded my suit. What do you think?
Basically what Iron Man was doing in every movie.
I mean, Spider-Man kind of did that in the second one there.
Yeah.
So sell some toys.
Why not?
News dump. Speaking of this current universe, we got our first trailer for Agatha All Along on September 18th. We will get a 2-episode premiere. And my question for you, Mac, is this spooky enough?
It looks like there's gonna be a good amount of spook, right?
Yeah.
They reference Wanda Maximoff in the trailer. I don't think we'll see her. Maybe at the
No.
very end we'll see her. Um, I is this gonna be PG-13,
That
do you
was my
think?
question. First off, PG-13 is not a television rating, so
Oh,
you're
true.
dumb.
True, right.
So is it
Yeah.
gonna be TV-14 or TVMA? I
Yeah,
think you
good
have to go
question.
at least 14, right?
Right, right, because that's probably the equivalent of a PG-13, I'm guessing?
Yeah. I think it has to be at least that. I would you know what? If they wanna, because 'cause they've already done a couple TVMAs. If they wanna drop a TVMA here and really go heavy on this, sure, give it to me.
My biggest takeaway is, God, yes, Aubrey Plaza. God, yes. I want Aubrey Plaza playing a witch that's up to no good and everything ever. I'm
I'm
perfectly
out on
fine with
witches,
that.
so I don't really care about that at all. My other question here is, I think it was told to us that this was gonna be a musical at one point. They're either hiding it or that was a joke.
Or they had went down that path and they were like, "This kinda
Uh-oh.
sucks."
Oh, no.
And again, this is one that's been delayed as well too,
Yeah.
so who knows what the original thing was, and then obviously, I still think, um, the whatever original title was supposed to be that, and then because of reshoots and whatnot, they kept changing it, and then I think they smartly turned it into a gag. I don't think it was intended to be a gag originally.
I will say, though, seeing Catherine Hahn back on the screen as that character again, it does remind you of how fun she was.
Yeah, and it looks like it's gonna let her, act a fool in this, and she's at her best when she's acting outrageous.
News dump. Got a teaser for F1, the $300 million Apple production movie with director Joseph Kosinski and starring Brad Pitt. Now, production is not done, but they've already spent that money.
Seems like we're gonna have to update that list, from last podcast, so there's that.
Yeah.
Uh, this looks like it's gonna be extremely well received by critics because of the way it's shot, like, there was
Mhm.
already a couple really cool
Like the dashboard
visuals.
cam? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Looks
like,
fucking
there's
great.
gonna be some really cool stuff in this. I'm just hoping they can sort of get to the level because there's just like Top Gun Maverick, there's just something intrinsically fucking amazing about flying. Now,
Mhm.
F1 in racing cars is cool, but it's not nearly as cool as flying
No,
airplanes and
flying is cooler,
dogfights.
but F1 is pretty cool, especially if you find a cool way to shoot it.
Sure. Yep. So I wonder what their trick or what they use to try to get to maybe a
Also,
Maverick level.
I give you Tom Cruise and I raise you Brad Pitt.
Yep. And also you can certainly create more, I think, like believable drama in an F1 story than you can in Top Gun Maverick.
News down. Got some stills for Gladiator 2. We'll have a premiere. If you're listening to this on Goose Day, you'll get it today. And I've seen some people expecting gangbusters here.
Yeah, trailer drop, I don't know, less than 15 hours away, whatever math and goo is there. Um, I feel like 6 months ago, I wanted nothing to do with this movie, and now that we're creeping towards it, I'm like, "You know what? I'm kinda looking forward to this. I might want this movie."
I don't know
Denzel,
if I
like
am.
Pedro Pascal, the other guy, Paul Mezcal, is that his name? That's alcohol, but something like that.
And this, of course, is coming out the same weekend as Wicked.
Wicked. There'll be
Yeah,
quite the battle at the
quite
box
the battle.
office.
They both have swords and they'll both sing. News dump. According to Michael Rooker, TikTok has ruined the attention span of moviegoers, saying everything is 90 minutes now. Get over that shit. Watch a movie that actually tells the story where you grow to like the character or hate them. Learn what it's like to watch real cinema. Has
If any
Michael Rooker noticed that over the past 10-ish years, we have gotten many of 3-hour movies?
I was gonna say, if anyone's been a listener to this program for an extended period of time, you know how Goo and I have desperately claimed for many movies to get down to 90 minutes to cut out a lot of fluff.
Clean 100
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah, and so I agree that when the best stuff is given to us, sure, I'll watch 3 hours of it, 3.5 hours of it.
Yeah.
I won't even complain about it, but that's so few and far between. Maybe 2 movies a year warrant a 3-hour runtime, so
Yeah.
I get what he's saying as an artiste. But come on, man. Like there's so many movies out there that are so ungodly long and have so many, like 20 or 30-minute periods where like, I don't think any of that fucking
You're
mattered at
also
all.
coming off a year where Oppenheimer won every award and
Yeah.
everyone saw it.
Yeah, and Killers of the Flower Moon was nominated for everything, and that was over 3 hours.
And you made the point last year. You attacked the people that couldn't hold their bladder.
Yes, like I said, the best stuff warrants it. You just got to suck it up. But again, it's maybe 2 or 3 movies a year. It's not fucking half the movies. Like, does Michael Rooker want every movie to be 2.5 hours? Like, I really don't understand. Like, what's his ideal runtime? Because even
Every
at one
movie has to be 10 hours long.
I'll take
Strap in for
120
the day.
I'll go 2 hours, but most 2-hour movies, we come away saying this would have been better 15 minutes shorter, or they didn't expand upon enough stuff. I could have used 15, 20 minutes of this or that more.
News down. Macolyte.
Go.
Yeah.
We got a bit of a slower episode coming off what was one of the best things we've seen in Star Wars in years. Episode 5, we got the fallout of that fantastic episode 4. And there was a lot of character building done in this episode, especially of our bad guy, Kamir, who's not quite a Sith, but maybe is heading down that path. He's a badass either way. But I think what we learned in this episode, at least what I'm picking up on here, and I don't know if everyone else did, we see Saul leave with May. Kamir has brought Osha to his planet that we don't know quite yet. And before Saul takes off, he calls in the distress signal, like, hey, we've all been killed, yada, yada. And he leaves. And you're like, why doesn't he wait for the Jedi? And then as the episode plays out, it seems as though Vernestra and the other Jedi might be trying to pin this whole thing on Saul. But in my head, that starts to make me think maybe Vernestra is up to something. She's the Green Lady, once again, if you don't know her by name. Because, first of all, she's been a little sketch the whole season long. Like, she's just been a little too mean as far as Jedis go. And I think in Saul's head, he thinks, number one, he might be framed for what just happened because of his past. And number two, he might be on to Vernestra as well. That's why I think he takes off and we don't see anyone kind of together at the end of this episode. So I'm on to her now.
I haven't seen the episode yet.
Okay. All right. Well,
I'll see it soon.
there you
News
go.
down.
Another bout with COVID.
What?
You just need another bout with COVID.
I'll see it tonight. Shut up. My name's DJ Qualls. I'm on the list. We are the Boys Boyz. And Mac, you were correct.
Yeah.
Think about
Max Stradamus. I don't make too many predictions, or at least not as often as Koo makes predictions. But one of the things that I really picked up on in the first half of the Boys season was that every scene, and again, spoilers here, if you haven't seen the latest episode of The Boys, fucking, kick rocks. Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character, whose name I can't remember for the life of me. We saw him on screen with just Butcher, interacting with Butcher every single time. And it has already been established that Butcher's seeing people, Becca, most notably his dead wife. So I pondered that maybe Jeffrey Dean Morgan was in fact a figment of Butcher's imagination. And the big reveal at the end of this episode is that was true.
yes.
Basically, he's the devil to Becca's angel, and it's the two sides of Butcher warring back and forth. And it sort of seems like at the end of this episode, Jeffrey Dean Morgan's devilish side kind of won out, right? Is that not what you got from it?
I mean, we're going to see what happens by the end
Sure.
of it. I would assume, because that was episode 6, so we have 2 more left.
Yeah.
That probably by the end of episode 7, we are in a scenario where the devil is winning out, and then you probably have her win out by the end of the season, because he acts so tough, but he's a real softie.
It does also seem like, though, they are kicking the can down the road. I don't think we get much resolution at all at the end of this season.
I've really enjoyed, I've noticed it on TikTok recently. It might be like an old thing, but it's Homelander killed my wife and stole my son. And then they have a little picture of Starlight, like a really poorly drawn picture of Starlight with all of her facial features, like responding to it. Can you give me a Homelander impression right there? Just saying what I said.
That was a Butcher impression.
Oh, I'm sorry. Give me a Butcher impression of what I just said.
Can you say it again?
Homelander killed my wife and stole me son.
Homelander killed me wife and stole me son.
Wow.
It's like
Is
he's
that
in the room.
Daniel Day-Lewis across the way from me?
Also, did we kind of figure out, now this is maybe a stretch, but is the fucking worm thing in Butcher's brain, is that, it was the physical manifestation of that Jeffrey Dean Morgan?
I think so.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting, isn't it? Because
Does he
that's
have
like
several worms in him? Is there one worm or is there multiple worms?
one worm to rule them all. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's a big thing at the end of the season. The Becca worm shows some power because now it seems like that worm that destroyed the dude in the trailer was Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Like that's what happened there. And so I wonder if we see a power from Becca at some point.
Hear me out. Goostradamus on this one. That worm is going to come out of his pee hole.
Oh boy. I hope not.
What else would this show do?
I hope not.
Well, it's going to happen. News down.